3 o'clock in the morning, the place is Twinbrook, West Belfast, the home of Bobby Sands. In the last hour, the news has filtered through to this community that Bobby Sands has died after 66 days of hunger strike. And in scenes reminiscent of the early days of internment, bin lids have been bashed, car horns have been sounded to alert this community to the fact that Bobby Sands has died. And the Northern Ireland office in the last hour has issued a terse one-line statement. Mr. Robert Sands, a prisoner in the Maze prison, died today at 1:17. He took his own life by refusing food and medical intervention for 66 days. The Northern Ireland office has also issued a statement on behalf of Humphrey Atkins, the Northern Ireland Secretary of State. He says, "I regret this needless and pointless death. Too many have died by violence in Northern Ireland. In this case, it was self-inflicted." But to others, the Maze had claimed a martyr, a Republican martyr. In the early hours of this morning, as news broke from the prison, West Belfast was awakened by a tribal Republican ritual. But despite that Republican call, most people stayed in bed, while groups of teenagers built barricades in the streets. It was to be a night of occasional and indeed ritual violence, another night of hijacking, rioting and burning. But as dawn broke in Belfast, there was general relief that Sands' death had not sparked off a more violent reaction. In the more Republican districts of Belfast, black flags told their own story. But this picture wasn't typical. Apart from continued sporadic rioting, there was little disruption of normal living. Bobby Sands has filled the death columns of the nationalist Irish news, and today in West Belfast, his funeral was no ordinary Republican event. For the IRA, this was a major test of Catholic sympathy for the hunger strikers, and for the world's press, a carefully stage-managed affair. West Belfast had closed down for the day, and the security presence was discreet. Thousands watched as the hearse started out on its 4-mile journey to Milltown Cemetery. For up to 3 hours, tens of thousands waited quietly for the procession to pass. The mood was determined. It was clear this was a voluntary expression of public sympathy. Republican funerals have always drawn a crowd here in West Belfast, but never a crowd quite like this. Quite simply, this is one of the biggest political funerals in the history of Ireland. And here today, a whole community, it seems, has turned out in an obvious, overwhelming show of solidarity for the hunger strikers and the late Bobby Sands.
Well, Bobby Sands died for the like of us that's able to make us be able to walk anywhere in our own country, which we're not allowed to do, as you can see for yourself there. That's why I turned out. And I think he was a very courageous man.
You don't think he committed suicide?
No, I do not. No way.
Sorry.
He was murdered. Maggie Thatcher's a lot the answer for it. She could have took him off at any time she wanted. Well, I believe in everything a man fought and died for. I salute him. To us, he's an Irish martyr, nothing more. And they made him a martyr.
But not all the thousands who turned out today would have seen Sands as a martyr or even justified his hunger strike. But certainly the turnout was in such a scale to suggest the Catholic community has at least sympathy for the hunger strikers, if not supporting the IRA. But for the IRA, the turnout was a clear renewal of their H-Block's mandate. Bobby Sands' graveside was yet another propaganda victory on H-Blocks. But if the emotional tide is running the IRA's way, only a small fraction of the large crowd actually turned out at the graveside for the Republican orations. It was a sign that the Catholic community has measured its support for the Republican cause.